I mean, think about that for a second. A former or a prior Navy SEAL who does American journalism here was censored, in the United States. His episode on March 18th was marked for international distribution only. I mean, that's insane. But it was kind of more what I was seeing, uh, with some of the other attacks, on General Flynn and Ivan Racklin, and obviously, Joe Kent being uh, the reason why all these people are now getting attacked. And you can probably add myself to the mix. So, but I guess we're going to find out, with these disclosures. I'm going to stay on top of this story for sure. Find out who, because I mean, this is America, right? And I got a real problem if you're running, $6 million of propaganda on the American people, censoring American journalists. I mean, not acceptable. So, with that, I'll land.
Well, I'll tell you what, Ken. I also was very aggravated at the censorship that was going on when I first came out on the platform, and it was, I was screaming about the East Coast wind and the windmills, how bad it was for the environment. I had people in the State Department that didn't know what they were doing, have no idea how the environment works, right? So when I started putting this out and trying to get those stories out, I even have people that are in CBS, NBC, and you know what? Even those people that have been in that circuit for all these years, they could not get these stories out that I was producing. Nobody would pick it up. I think CBS, NBC was working directly against that narrative. And these were people that are in the media. So, 10th, man, this has been going on for a long, long time here.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. When you come after the military community, you should expect to fight back. You know what I mean? So it's
Well, I'll tell you what,
yeah.
10th, I would never stand for that. We have Truth in here. He's a veteran. There's a lot of people out there saying, hey, there's people out there degrading veterans. But when you use veterans in a ploy to be able to get you to listen to their narrative, I don't agree with that. I don't agree that, hey, they're using the veteran ploy to be able to pluck on your heartstrings and then set a different narrative to you. And they hid behind this. This isn't just one incident. There's a lot of instances there. So you talked about, hey, dishonoring the veterans' motives, narrative, stories. When they used it against it, that I don't like either.
Yeah, 100%. So thanks for having me on. And I posted a couple of the things I was just talking about in the Purple Pill. So
Well, right on, Sansa. Well, listen, man. Hey, keep pumping them to me, and we'll definitely disseminate what's out there, dude. And hey, that's why we're working on this little project behind the scenes. That we're gonna beat this membrane from the media, mainstream media. We're gonna beat it digitally, and we're working hard on it. So you'll see it in the future here, tenth, and we'll see what we can do with it.
yeah, 100%. And that's the point. This is the point that we're trying to make, Marlon. Is that if the American people are going to make informed decisions about the direction of our country, we need to have honest journalism, right? I mean, you can't make it's really hard to make decisions if you're being misled by propaganda, from a foreign country, by the way. So
Well, I tell you what, I won't stand for it, and I've been around on this planet long enough to disseminate this. So, you know what? If we can raise the flag, and we're going to fight back, and not let them just walk all over narratives and use it for malicious intent, because that's what they're doing. So not to kind of nosedive us with that, but man, just praising veterans. I remember coming out of the Vietnam War, my cousins, my uncles. I remember them coming home and being disgraced at the airport, being spit on, called baby killers. These are my cousins and uncles. I think that the appreciation for our veterans has changed. And I think most people use it for the good, but I think there's some people that are using it for the bad. So if we can just kind of get that out of the way and understand who these people are and how they're using that narrative, brother, there'll be a whole different story here.
All right, Marlon, thanks for having me on. I gotta get to work, so take care.
Go chase that guy Bill. He's relentless, man. He follows me around every day. So yeah, thanks, man. Good to see you. Let's say hello to Truth. Well, Truth, you heard it. How you doing this morning? Wednesday.
Oh, you're here.
Just the disgracing of veterans, and I don't know exactly what he was talking about over the weekend, but it sounds like, people were trading some of the veterans, especially on this platform. I don't know exactly, but that's what it sounded like to me.
Well, the only thing I noticed is that the Pope refused to pray for our troops, calling us warmongers.
Wow, are you serious? I didn't see that. When was that?
This is not, I don't know when exactly.
On Sunday?
Yeah, that's what I saw. You know,
On,
at the-
on all the days of all the days, Palm Sunday, he's not going to say a prayer.
But, you know, who cares? It's a man. It doesn't matter. You know, it doesn't matter. I know who my Lord and Savior is, and no man's gonna tell me otherwise. Unless as I said, you know, I don't give a damn. Because we're not warmongers. We're peacekeepers. So get it straight.
There's a reason that the Episcopal Church does not recognize. I'm just saying, I think that maybe we've glorified that position, and maybe some of the people behind that, the Cardinals and everybody there, and they're using it for their own good here. Man, there's a lot of grumblings out there about it. Listen, I have as much faith as everybody else, but I've lost faith in that position.
Marlon, you still there?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Tin, you might be having a problem. We can hear Marlon fine.
Yeah, I don't have
Marlon.
a problem with Marlon. Tinfoil, Marlon, you have to drop tinfoil and bring him back up.
Yep. Well, I think, hey, that's why we're able to come onto a platform like this and actually talk about what happened over the weekend and what we're seeing. I don't know. I think some people are seeing the differences now. We were on shelves with Chad yesterday, right? And I've grown to I like the guy more and more. And hey, everybody used to break my stones because in the beginning everybody used to come onto this platform and just curse like there was no tomorrow. And I think I've had to stop Chad a couple of times, but look, I think what the guy is doing, he's out there in the trenches. Is he making a living at it? Yeah, who wouldn't? But damn, the guy, he's got the right messaging out there, talking to the college kids, changing their conception of what the party looks like. I thought that was good notice, man. So I'm becoming more of a fan if they catch my drift. So we'll see what Chad's doing. I know he was down in CPAC. I want to talk about one other thing too. They talked about that and talked about sounded like the morale was rough. I don't get that. I mean, like it wouldn't matter if I went there to CPAC. I would bring my energy. It wouldn't change. Whoever was down in the dumps or whatever, just move to the side, get out of the way. It's kind of the same shit that happens here. We get people that try to black pill us. It's not going to stand for it, dude. Life's great. America's on its way. I just don't understand the argument. Put some positivity behind it.
That's right. That's right. Got to be positive about things, and you can't let that other stuff creep into your head and bring you down. So, definitely.
Oh man, it's just sometimes it's a little brutal, some it's just some days, and some people are like that. Some people, man, they just no matter what the hell you do for them, they're still upset. I don't look at it. I wake up, man. Today's a brand new day.
100% it is a nice day. At least it was warm here yesterday, and then it's going to plummet, I think, tomorrow, of course, right before the holiday weekend and everything. It's going to plummet back down to being cold, but
It's
definitely
beautiful here
feeling
right
the
now.
summer vibes.
It's beautiful here right now. I mean, I'm standing in the sun here. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. Now we're getting a taste of spring. It's like we want we want it all. Okay, love my wing taste.
So I got a question for you guys. Did you see the video going around social media of Trump's new library? I know it was AI, but if he can pull it off, it's beautiful.
He actually was talking about it yesterday. Love my wings up when they were he signed an executive order, and then he was taking questions, and of course somebody had to throw that in there, that is this going to cost a lot of money, and why are you already projecting this? He's like, well, nothing's going to be built, first of all, until I'm out of office. Second of all, it's what it's going to look like. It's not only just going to be a library, but it's also going to be a hotel. Air Force One, which is soon to be retired, is going to be in there. I guess like when you first walk in, it's going to be pretty, compared to the trash compactor that Obama built in Chicago, it's going to rival. It's going to be beautiful, of course, because, Trump is a builder, and that's what he does. I mean, that's his craft. So, it's going to be something special.
I watched Abby Phillips last night. I like to watch her show because of just how ridiculous it really is. So we're talking about, hey, the judge that came along and stopped the production, and there's a big hole in the ground there, right? And I think what the narrative is that he has to get congressional approval. Now they came back and said this is all donor money. This is zero money on the taxpayer. So why do we need the approval of Congress to go ahead with the project, especially because it's not costing the John Q taxpayer a dollar?
And you're talking about the ballroom too. Yeah. It's exactly. They're just whatever they can do to try to stop it, and they're going to keep doing these things, Marlon. As long as that we have these corrupt judges in place, they're going to keep putting these roadblocks up for him. So yeah, that's what we're about to see. Just with any little thing that they can do on the lower courts, just to make it more harder for him to do what he's got to do and to continue to going, because eventually it gets up to the Supreme Court, or it gets up to what, like the Ninth Circuit or something, and they are like, this is you can't do this stuff. But it's still money. It costs, it's time, it's money, it's aggravation. But that's really what they're all about, right?
Well, if you can get a congressional approval with no funding from the government, I just don't understand the position. Okay, well maybe okay, how they put it is Trump is not the owner, right? We are. So you need Congress approval, regardless of whether or not there's a dollar taxpayer money in there. We needed approval through Congress. I guess that's what the judge is saying. Do you think it'll go through with an approval? I mean, if you had, does it have to go through the filibuster?
Well, it'll definitely go through the House, whether it has to go up to the Senate. But I don't know that he needs. I mean, this has been done by every president since George Washington. I mean, they've done things with the White House, and I don't think that they need congressional approval. I believe so. I think there's a he put a truth out, so I'll look for that. Well, I just turned on my tablet, so I'll look at that because for some reason, still when I'm going out of this out of this space, I'm still having some issues. So there, the ex gods are complaining to me today.
Well, that's a constant fight, right? That's why, hey, don't get discouraged. You're running spaces, just restart them. You know, keep firing at them because they're gonna get sick of it. They're probably totally sick of Marlon. Man, this guy comes up here every day. We try and shut him down every. Oh man.
Oh yeah, but that's okay. You keep fighting the fight, and then we keep winning. So, it's
I
all
don't
good.
care. I don't care what it takes. They'll never outwork me, Julie. Never.
That's right.
I want
Hard to
them. Hey,
fish, we know.
did you did you see the picture of me carrying T-Rock yesterday?
Yes, I did.
How many of y'all could do that?
Not me.
There was 50 of them things.
You're gonna have
I-
some sore muscles this weekend.
Well, just how much does my body pay for it? It's not so much whether or not I can do it. It's more or less how I pay later on, right? There's aches and pains there that I never had before.
Yeah, that's another fun thing about getting a little older, Marlon. So but if we keep talking like this, they're going to think we're in a geriatric unit. So let's stop talking about this. There's lots of good things that have happened in the past 24 hours, especially with Trump's truce. So I did put some of those in the pill. I know Tinfoil wanted to talk about the State Farm and Tinfoil, that State Farm thing that he came out with that truth, and he said that he's basically going to call these people out, and he's going to go after them because they're really all those people in California. And I'm not talking about the millionaires that own their houses on the beaches and stuff like that. This is everyday hardworking Americans that lived in the Palisades area, and they're not going to and State Farm isn't going to come through. We just had a similar situation in our house. Marlon knows about this. My husband is we have everything through State Farm. We have never had a late payment, had a missed payment, and we had two claims that we did that were a year apart. And because of those two claims, they sent us a letter and they dropped our homeowners insurance just like that. No warning, no calls from his agent, nothing. They just dropped us. We had to find somebody new, which luckily we did, but as soon as we can, we will be moving everything out of State Farm. They have lost our business, and they probably have lost the business of his entire family, which is a lot of money. So they can sit
Jake
and
is throwing it up. Jake's throwing it up.
It's just sad. It's sad that when you do the right thing, because you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. I mean, if we had all this water damage and we didn't follow through on this stuff, what if we got mold in our house? What if we got sick? Or what if we sold the place and then it had mold and we got sued, or we got like you can't. Our water in this area is horrible. We live in a very rocky area, so it's very hard water. It's very horrible. And we just signed a petition. They're trying to raise our rates on our water again, and it's not even drinkable. Like it's just, I mean, it's drinkable if you have filters, but I wouldn't just drink it right out of the tap. Let's put it that way. It's not the water I grew up with when I used to be able to drink out of the tap on the hose outside. Marlon, here we go with our age again.
Right. Well, you know what? I think the insurance industry as a whole, not just homeowners, not just liability insurance, not just State Farm has all kinds of little policies. If you're a worker, you get hurt, subsidize your pay, and I'm just telling you. I look back at how many insurances that I actually own. I'm insured to the tilt. That's the problem. We'll definitely get into the State Farm there. Okay, Julian, we're going to fed up and say hello. I know Florida jumped up. Maybe we'll say hello.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we can definitely circle back around on that. Guys, while I have everybody's attention, please go down to the purple bubble, like and reshare this space. If you can also with another device or whatever, when you're listening, just go over to Rumble and like and share at Rumble and YouTube. The American X Live is being broadcast there, streaming live. So for people who do not have accounts on X, they are listening through that way. So if you give it a thumbs up, get it up on the algorithm, hopefully they'll get some more people in there. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, Fed Up. Go ahead.
Yeah, 1 second, Fed Up. And really, hey, I want to thank Mama and my wife back there really facilitating this, kind of overseeing it. So I couldn't do it without the entire community. So shout out to them. Good.
Yeah, well, just a couple things on that. You know, with the Trump and that ruling with the ballroom, which is again one of those ignorant lower court judges deciding they can step in. But you know, they didn't say anything when Obama was tearing the place up and spending what $5-6 million to put in a basketball court. They didn't say anything when president after president has done demolition and rebuilding with the White House. That's part of the thing that they do. Yeah, because they're the caretaker. That's part of being the caretaker is, they've done all kinds of things. It's just ridiculous.
Well, it's fed up with the wars, right? Remember, Obama didn't need any kind of problems when he bombed Libya, but now that they're going after Iran, it's a problem, and he should have went through Congress first and got permission.
Well, Clinton violated a congressional order because one of the ones he sent over. They did a congressional order to end it, and he still kept it for 76 days. So not only violated the congressional order, went past the War Powers Act by 16 days because he didn't announce that the last 16 days were going to be a drawdown. So he violated the both. And has anything ever been said about that? No, because it was the Democrats. And the other thing you were saying about State Farm, and this I will say, and this is my opinion, not an opinion of the space, right, or the host, but I would advise anyone to get out of State Farm as fast as you can. I have told my own mother this, and she won't listen to me because she's been with them, like you said. My mom's been with State Farm for like 50 years or something ridiculous. But when I was working as a service advisor for Honda, there was, we had problems at some point in time with almost every company, but none was worse to deal with than State Farm. They were horrible to their customers. It was just terrible the things they would do. Other than I will have to say Erie, if you're familiar with Erie Insurance, year and a half I worked there, never had a problem with them, not once. Talked to my coworker who had been in that industry for a long time, never had a problem with them. But State Farm, oh my God, they were a nightmare. I just dreaded. Anytime I saw somebody come in with something that we could run through insurance and it was State Farm, I knew I was going to be on the phone for hours. I knew I was going to be battling and fighting for every little thing for the customer, even if it was stuff that was recommended by the mechanics, by our manager. It was insane.
The insurance thing. I think there's going to be something coming as far as, hey, we watch it in the logistical lines, how they manipulate insurance, self-insured, shell company. I think there might be something coming down the pike here to kind of control that. And real quick, I do want to say hello to Florida. Tinfoil, do you have a mic?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, you're good. I just want to check you out. So, hey, maybe we could say hello to Florida. Florida, how you doing? Good to see you today.
Good morning. I'm hanging in there. Yeah, I'm in a good place. In my heart and my normal mind know what's going on. So the best thing I can do is stay off the TV and kind of take sporadic breaks from here and come to the spaces that I know I feel like aren't going to let infiltrators in, because whether we want to admit it or not, we are in war, and there are like infiltrators in every space, and they all come in and they say that they're on our side, and then somehow work their angle in, and so I've honestly been staying away from spaces. I turn on the TV, everything's negative. I'm like, kind of, so where do I go? But in my mind, I'm okay. I am very comfy with where I am right now. But I'm just going through something like with my job, I guess, because which is good that the background checks are getting stricter. But like at my job, I quit one job to go to this job. The other job I should have stayed at either way. But the background check they did, it went back 7 years, and it's been 6 years and 10 months since something happened. And they flagged me and are firing me for that. So I had to dispute it. But I'm just like, how can all these other minorities get through? And then like me, that's been an American citizen my whole life. I have something on my record from 6 months or 6 years and 10 months, 8 months now. So in 4 months, it'll be off my record, and they're probably maybe going to fire me if the dispute doesn't go through, because it's not and it's just like, so I'm a little bummed out about that, but I know how it's okay that they're making everything stricter. I want it that way, I say, right? So I don't know. I'm just trying to stay positive and not get in the middle of any drama. But I woke up this morning early and I saw you were on, and I like your space a lot. So I don't know. I'm just really bummed out about this background check, especially when I've been so good for so long. That's all. Good morning to everybody. Marlon, thanks for having the space, and Julie too.
Well, good to see you, Florida. Thanks for coming in. You talked about our record, background check. I think maybe, there could be a little bit of leniency there, especially for somebody that's been in that, paid your taxes, you've been a good employee, you've done all the things, and now you're being punished for it because of something that happened on your record 7 years ago. Um, with all of the immigration that we saw come across the border, how much they're facilitating this, how much they're giving them per month. I mean, it's astronomical, the number. I'm hoping that Trump is recognizing it. I think that's where Doge came in, and hey, start getting some benefits to not only our veterans, but to other small businesses, giving them the leg up instead of investing in the immigrant, invest in the American citizen. And I think our kids, should be the object of this. So Florida, and then hey, one more thing. You talked about the tractors, right? Come into the spaces, change the narratives, and they're good at it. They're able to come in, and you think they're innocent, and they're one of us, and they pull on pluck on your heartstrings, but yet they want to give you their narrative. I think we've done a great job at getting some of these detractors out of the way. And honestly, Florida, I don't think we get them to try, and I'm not inviting it, but I'm just saying, we've identified a lot of these people. My block list must be extensive. I don't know how many I have on that block list, but man, it's got to be really long. And I know some of the detractors, they're dying in here. They while the pill was off for the last couple of days, it was kind of nice because I didn't see them, right? But every day they'll come in and try and desecrate that bubble down there. And I laugh because it's the zero answer that's burning them down. When you don't give them any gas, you don't give them any life, that burns them down the most. And they're doing anything they can to get back in.
That's what aggravates me, is about the good people that we start getting a good conversation going. This space is great, but any other, other spaces, there's a good conversation flowing. Then they let somebody up, and like my gut and my mind tells me, even though they start out positive, I know where this is going. I can just look at their page, whether they say they're on our side or not, and then they draw it out, and then it's like I might as well just leave for like an hour and come back, and it's just like then everybody's talking about it, and then everybody says, well, maybe that person has a point, and it's just like I understand the propaganda going on. They don't understand the propaganda going on. And it's like, stop. But you can't step in and say stop because they're supposedly on our side, So that's it. Other than that, have a great day. And thanks for calling me up. Just waking up.
Well, you know what, Florida? Hey, you're just as important as every other voice that goes into these spaces. and remember that just you showing up liberates others. So keep talking. Don't get discouraged. We are winning. I think.
We are, and
We're
you guys have been
winning.
here a lot longer than everybody else. So I got to keep that in mind. You've been fighting the good fight much longer than everybody else. Not everybody, but it's me. So I'm here now, though.
Well, and thanks. And you know what? That's probably half the reason that people come in and listen is because I've been here. I've been a staple. There's not too many mornings that we're not here. If I'm not doing it, Truth or Julie or Rosie or, Tinfoil, they're carrying the torch. It's good to show every day, to show that consistency. And you know what? If I could hang my hat on anything, Florida, that's just showing up, it just makes it better for everybody else. So why not? Why not? We get the tap on the shoulder every day. You might as well. Okay, they're fed up, and then I see Larissa's going to come up. I haven't heard from Larissa in a while.
I was going to say on the disruptors, if you're in a space that those disruptors come in, the host will, hopefully take care of the disruptor. But the one thing I would suggest, and I've brought it up in here, and I know y'all do it now, is if the room keeps going on and on about the disruptor after they've left, suggest them not and point out to them, you're letting the disruptor win. We've come to figure that out is once you get the disruptor out of the room, quit talking about them. Because all you're doing is letting their plan, without them even having to be there and do the work. So that's something I would suggest when you're in these other rooms. If it keeps going and going on it, because we've seen that. I've seen a room keep talking about a disruptor an hour after they were gone. And it's like, that's what they're hoping for. So bring that up, to those rooms, be like, why don't we just quit talking about them? You're letting them win.
Well, you're right. Fed up to a degree, they do win, but sometimes, and I've done it in the past, but I'm not going to do it in the future, just because it's a waste of time. I used to bring them up and just show the people that were in the space the example of the disruptor. Disruptor. It was easy. You could see them a mile away. So I think sometimes they're hiding in the shadows here. And it's fine. You can sit back there and listen. Sharpen your pencil. It's fine. So, well, let's go to Lockjaw. How you doing, Lockjaw?
Hey Marlon, how you doing, bro?
Great.
Just want to let you know. I don't know if you know it or not, but if you need a break from the detractors being in the pill, you do know that you could set that up to where only certain people can respond to it and post on it, right?
Yeah. But then it gives the ability that the new people that came in, be able to have a spot for them to go into the pill. I don't really want to do that, but yeah, no, I get it.
So I just want to make sure you know. That's all, bro. Have a good one.
Hey, thanks, Lockjaw. And listen, hey, that's all part of it. We're all learning. Different ways to keep going, stay positive. I mean, I look, I'm a totally different guy at night than I am in the morning. I am an absolute morning guy. I may not be as energetic at the end of the nights, but once in a while you'll catch me in some of these evening spaces, and Marley, you're not being very positive. Well, I'm tired. 9 o'clock, man. 9 o'clock East, buddy. My eyes want to close, and that's it. So good to see you, Lockjaw. Hang out if you got a couple minutes. Let's go and say hello to Larissa. Larissa, how you doing? Great to see you.
Hey, good morning. How are you? Oh, okay.
I'm doing a lot better now, Larissa.
Yeah.
Good to see
So I'm coming here with a concern of something I've been observing in my county. And not to take things off track of what I've just heard. I hear you and I'm aware of all of it. But the State Department of Health in my county are reviewing records of children who are not vaccinated for Hep B, right? And so they're is that their business? Like mine, nobody minds their own business. Somebody's always getting inside, want to see what you're not doing according to the law of the state, right? So the children have to go get poked, to make sure that they're not carrying the Hep B, whatever it is. What is it with the Hep B vaccination?
Well, Larissa, I
Anyway,
think the
yeah.
CDC came out. I think they came out about 3 months ago, and they were not. I'm sorry. They were recommending that the Hep C shot it shouldn't be given to these kids that are an hour old. The old additive was that the women were passing this to the child when they went through the birth canal, and this was the conception. So you know what? Our generation got this, Larissa, but I don't think this next generation needs it. I mean, I don't know how many Hep cases are out there during birth. I think that percentage is probably really, really low. I think it was more or less they used a drug addict narrative or scene where they passed Hep C onto the child or Hep B onto the child, and they kind of threw up the red flag and oh my God, everybody's got to do this. I think that you're going to see that vaccine regimen being cut down here, Larissa. So for your county, I know I must be on that list because I am unvaccinated. They want to start that shit over again. Who's vaccinated, who's not? That's what it sounds like they're doing.
Right. And it's spring break. It's spring break. Like the kids can't even enjoy anyway. I just wanted to I I want to help my family with knowledge on rethinking the way you move forward. Maybe creating forms where you do have you own your children, like the state doesn't own your child. Anyway, I'm trying to figure
Well, it sounds like they're really infringing on your rights inside of your county. If you could prove that they were using that for some nefarious reason, well, that's just a lawsuit that you could bring against that county board, right? This is what we've all forgotten. If they're doing something against, hey, the citizenry inside of your county, Larissa, especially mounting the information on vaccinated and unvaccinated, I thought that discussion was well over. It sounds like maybe they're collecting that info to maybe do another probe on us again. That's what it feels like to me, Larissa.
But I also like to add in there too, ever since COVID for the first time around, it seemed like the only way I can describe it, it feels like the Karens and Kevins, as they would call them, has come out, and better yet, it seems like every narcissist has come out of the friggin' woodwork since COVID, and is trying to find every Tom, Dick, and Harry way of trying to tell us how to live our lives, to try to control us in every facet, fashion, you name it. They have tried it, and they have tried it in so many different groups. Larissa, I'm right there with you. I just want to be left alone at this point. It's like I don't even want people coming after me for anything. It's like just leave me alone. Let me go live my life in peace and solitude. So I would definitely keep an eye on that. And if you can you send me information on how you found that out? Because I definitely want to take that to a friend of mine that works in the child trafficking stuff, and Brandy. And I want to show her because we've been tracking some other things out of Connecticut where they're trying to go after homeschooling. So I definitely am interested to hear more about that, so I can get that information to her.
Yeah, go ahead, Larissa. Then we'll go to Texas and fed up.
So, they're prepping here for, hazmat or whatever. That's what's happening. Like of something collateral. My state is so corrupt. New York is absolutely deplorable. Anyways, but I can't run. I'm not a runner. You know, when you get a 1-2 punch and you fight back, like you punch back, you don't run. Anyways, tinfoil. That's what I would when we had that space last night on prepping. So I want to prepare my family. I want them to be prepared for this type of infiltration of the overreach because knowledge is power, right? And I think they need to focus, but it's not for me. It's their journey, and if they're willing to to pause and just say, wait, what is happening? Because it's happening. And what if she just said no? Why can't you just say no? I'm not going to follow through. Like the word no. No, I don't want to do that. Like anyway.
Well, they're like children, right, Larissa? If you tell your child no, well, he's going to throw up a fight and he's going to be pissed off and he's going to, try and do everything he can. It feels like it's a kid move here. They're mounting that for something. They're mounting that information for some reason. If we have something else come out and flashes, kind of like what they did with COVID, we'll have our antennas up and we'll realize. Larissa, I think what Tin asked you is where you found that information. I think that would be valuable. Well, if you could share that with us, that would be great.
Okay.
Right, Texas, what's happening, man? Then we'll go to Fed Up, Sunlight Zap.
Yeah, good morning, y'all. I don't have but a second. I just want to jump in by listening. I wanted to splash you with, but tonight, now I know everybody's been talking about Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Florida, and the non-domiciled issues. Well, as of midnight tonight, unless these non-domiciles prove that they're here legally, and let me tell you where it's at, brother. This is what's going to surprise you. Unless they can prove they're here legally and licensed legally, their license will be revoked at midnight tonight. The state of Indiana, bro. Indiana, bro. Tonight. The governor's done signed it and everything. So at midnight tonight, unless they can prove they're valid, their CDL will be revoked. That's huge, brother.
Hey, I just reposted that. It is huge. And again, we were talking, Chad, yesterday, and how the administration is really listening, right? And hey, I talked about the trades again. I kind of put trucking in this category. I think these are jobs that our kids, parents, should get themselves out of the way. Let your child experience these jobs, even if he's not going to be a career truck driver or a career drywall guy or a career welder. I think the Trump administration is really laying that out, dude, and they're giving us the way out. If we take the same metric, we talked about it before. When I stood in front of Paulsboro's truck stop, 30% of those guys that went by me could not speak English. 30%. Now think about that 30%, taking that out of the workforce. What kind of ability does it give to our kids? It's an excellent opportunity to fix the labor gap in this country, not relying on an immigrant population to come in and do it for us. It's us, the parents, Texas. Just saying, man. Yo, keep me abreast. I'm not following it as much as I used to. Got a lot of distractions, things that we're working on, but Texas, I definitely want to get that out. Go ahead, Julie, and then we're going to Fed Up. Sunlight. I know Russell jumped in there. Is that?
Yes, lots of things going on, but I have to apologize, Marlon. I have to drop as co-host. Maybe Truth can do it or something, or maybe You Love My Wings. I have to do a couple things, and I can't be by the phone as I would like to be. So I'm going to drop down, and thank you guys for coming in. And please share the space out. Please go over to Rumble and YouTube as well, and share it there. Give it the thumbs up so it gets up on the algorithm. Thanks a lot. I'll talk to you in a little bit.
Boo. Thanks, Julie. Thanks for coming up. Appreciate you. Can't do it without you. Okay, they're fed up.
Yeah. First, congratulations to people actually paying attention to what's going on in their local. Yay! That is awesome. And as far as, yeah, I think the key thing with what you were talking about with the shots is finding out why they're collecting that data. It's government. We know their history. Chances are it is for something nefarious. Something though to keep in mind as we're seeing these vaccines getting derecommended. We've heard Bobby talk about how many of these vaccines never were properly tested, things like that. There is granted, I will say outside chance, but keep an eye for it because I think this will happen at some point, where some of these municipalities will get a direct order from, the CDC, FDA, whatever it happens to be, to collect this data for the things we're wanting to get done. Because Bobby has talked about wanting to get actual proper testing and trials on these vaccines. Well, the thing is, if you have a population that's already been given these vaccines, you already have a control group. You already have you can already look to an extent, it won't be as controlled, but you could look at trends. And so there is the possibility always that some of this data could be being collected for some positive reasons. Like I said, outside shot, but something to consider. I was thinking about as you all were talking about that, because I know they've already done some things like that, right? Now, the best thing is to always keep the hairy eyeball on your local government and every government, because they're for the most part not here to help us. At best, they're here to be neutral. But usually they've got some nefarious, even if it's just lining their own pockets or building their own power, one of the two. So that was just the thought I had when y'all were talking about that.
Yeah, for some weird reason behind me, I don't understand why they're bringing this back up. Okay, Larissa, you want to jump in there, and then maybe we can say hello to Zach.
Yeah, what our county is a pilot program for universal education. So the universal daycare, universal school, the word universal has been prominent verbiage here in this county, right? So they want the kids to start at 3 to go into the schools because it's going to be paid for. The money's already being funneled into this county, and it's just I'm not overwhelmed by it. I'm very aware of what's happening, but I'm also aware of what you don't have to comply. I understand the verbiage of opting out. We created that opt-out movement with Common Core. I was also part of a group called hashtag Crazy Mothers, which has been erased from the internet. Like, you can't even search my children's names because they were vaccine injured in the 1990s. All their information is gone. So I'm very well aware of what's happening. But there is knowledge is power. Like, I'm going to grab it and I'm going to use it for the benefit for all. All parents should know how, when, and to say, no, I'm opting out. I have that right. It's my child. Nobody holds regency over my child. No. Anyways, I'm going to close my mic. And I adore you. Anybody with information on, to, pour into the cup, I would love that today. So thank you.
Well, good to see you, Larissa. Thanks for popping up. And hey, remember, you've been an OG around here a long time, Larissa. You were in this space when we very first started, and I appreciate you coming up. It, I haven't talked to you in a while, but I'm glad to see you kind of still have your antennas up. You're seeing what's going on behind the scenes, how they're going to collect it. I don't understand the vaccinated and unvaccinated talk again. I don't like that at all. So Larissa, I'm sure we got to just keep our eye on it. Please, keep bringing that in here so that hey, we can keep our antennas up. So, great to see you. Go ahead, Zach, and then Sunlight. I'll give you the stage here. Maybe we can hear from Russell real quick, and then we'll go to you, Sunlight. Go ahead, Zach.
Hey guys, hey, just gonna see what you up to. I got the live look today with the birthright citizenship today. It's in the feed down at Purpleville.
Dude, that is big. You know that, hey, we've been running against that narrative, working on the logistic lines our entire time being on here, and wow, it's really coming to light, right? And I'm not saying, hey,
Yes.
we did it. No, I'm saying that keeping that message going, not letting Congress and the Senate members forget about it. So it's good stuff.
I got the live feed in the Purpleville.
Thanks, Zach. Thanks for that. Hey, again, I'm not taking the credit. I just feel as though, hey, we did our little part in continuing that message out there. And I thank you. I thank the audience for enduring it. But now that we, it was a non-sexy conversation talking about trucking, but damn, now it's on the front page of every news story. You see the CDLs. You see the Trump administration with the immigration problem. I mean, we're seeing it, and like I said, I'm not saying, hey, we're taking credit. American Inclined did it. No, but we did continue with the message. There wasn't too many spaces talking about it, and now it's on everybody's tongue. It's great to see. That's the effectiveness. Go ahead, Russell. How you doing, man? And we'll go to you, Sunlight.
I'm good, Marlon. I just wanted to there's a guy that's on X and he's on TikTok and everywhere else. His name's Konawa Downing, and he's he goes to these city councils and he explains to them what they're doing wrong with what is becoming criminal deal. I guess he's warning them if they're not already involved in it. And I don't know if anybody's seen that on the internet. Konawa Downing is Tonawah Downing, Downing, and he's contacted me, and you can contact him. But I'm just wondering what other people's thoughts are on it, if you've seen him or seen any of his literature or anything. And the other thing, the Chevron deference, the thing that basically keeps them from pretending that they voted on it. And I'm just trying to figure out a place where I can get something printed to where I can hand it out to certain people in my city here, because some of these people are still, I don't know where they're at most of the day, but they don't know anything about some of this stuff, even after all this stuff has been out there, But yeah,
like
the
it's
other
a shock. You know what I mean, Russell? Like it's a shock.
Yeah, well, I would just like to get something. I'm just hoping somebody maybe has a PDF file or something they could share, that we could print this stuff out that explains what the Chevron reversal was all about, and also the we're not supposed to pay taxes. We've been saying this for 100 years. Well, I want these people that are sending me letters and stuff. I want to put it in their face. You know what I mean? You have no right not to know at this point. And quit spending.
So you know what, dude? You know what? We're gonna talk behind the scenes here a little bit. We got something coming out. I just posted about it, about the average view. This is a magazine that's going to be, devised up from people in this community. So, you know what? We'll have to talk offline there, Russ.
Yeah, yeah. Well, look, you got a what do you call it? An email that you can reach me at, or I mean, you can just call me.
Yeah, pop it to me. Throw it in my DM there, Russell, and then
I will. And it's basically it's my business and it's my only phone number really. I've got a backup one so I could find my mobile phone when I lose it.
yeah, no worries, man.
All right, Marlon. I'll let you go, buddy.
Well, thanks, Russell. And really, again, it's more about us pumping that information out. Hey, just alerting people. Maybe that's just our job. That's it. So, hey, let's go to Sunlight. Sunlight, how you doing? Then we'll go to Eugene a bottle.
Hey, Marlon, doing good, man. So not only are you live streaming and all that, now you're a publisher, you're putting out a magazine and everything else, man. I have to give it to you. Big time kudos, man. I know you're going to be running Starlink off of the fishing boat and, live streaming from that, in the near future. It's just amazing watching how this space in the community has grown and everything. We've talked numerous times, Marlon, about, the challenges of, birthright citizenship. I shared the story about the county hospital where I grew up on the border town. How every year they were coming back asking for more and more money because it became an entire cottage industry, for these anchor babies. They fly into Mexico, cross the border, with a visitor visa, and they hang out for a couple of weeks. And I mean, it's all orchestrated, Marlon. You wouldn't believe, most county hospitals are in the shitty part of town or in the bad part of town, excuse me. And however, the little hotel chains that popped up around this county hospital, speak volumes. And so it's a whole industry. Everything is orchestrated. It's all planned out. It's all laid out right in front of them. The scheduling, everything is handled. They got immigration lawyers that, set up shop, just like bail bondsmen, right? Set up shop where? Next to the jail, right? That makes sense. You got the immigration lawyers, set up the abogados, set up all around the damn county hospital, and they got their hand out every freaking year because they need more and more money, to pay for these anchor babies, to come in or these women to come in and drop an anchor. And, I'm glad to see that the Supreme Court is handling this. And there's, been a number of concepts and everything, like when Abbott was trying to push back against the federal government, I put together a string of things that I thought, would be of interest and tools that could be used, by the state governments. I've had an interest in this subject for a long, long time, being a native Texan, born and raised and, here for my entire life. And I've seen this stuff happen. I've seen where I go and register my kids, for school. I have to prove, residency. I have to show up with a water bill. I have to show up with ID. And then they have a special little table set up, to the side with English as a second language interpreters, to whisk in the illegals, and get the illegal kids into the same school system. And it puts stress and pressure on everything. So I've been watching this develop. There's a lot of concepts and everything, but never have I seen a more thorough push than Data Republican has put together. And I put it up in the nest. I hope you don't mind, and also down in the purple pill. But Data Republican is now like a visiting fellow, if you will, with It's Your Gov at It's Your Gov. Is listed in her post. If you haven't followed this organization, please follow it, this page, because they are doing a heck of a lot of heavy lifting and advising. They're like the answer to K Street and all these corrupt advisors and lobbyists and everything, that sit right down the road from Pennsylvania Avenue. You ought to see that place, man. If you've never been, I know you've been, Marlon, but it's just disgusting. what's happening, but this group is pushing back. So they put together a brochure on how to handle illegal immigration once and for all, and get rid of every illegal across the country. That doesn't mean that these individuals are banned permanently from trying to get back into the United States. But there's a right way and a wrong way, and we either enforce our immigration laws or just scrap it and just be done with it and have open borders and a free for all. I mean, it's one or the other. It's not a difficult issue. And Marlon, we talked about 186 different visa types in our visa system. 186, immigrant and non-immigrant, or work visas and student visas and all the other stuff. And how many visa overstays? It is a freaking mess. But if you guys have a little bit of time today, I would recommend that you go through Data Republicans post on top of the Mass Deportation Coalition and the brochure that they put together, that they're working with immigration lawyers on the right side of the fence, plus congressional sponsors and anyone in the industry that is wanting to push this and get this done once and for all. And I think it has a real shot, Marlon. And so I put it up there. It's worth the read, or the scroll through, the brochure, so you can see all the different categories and everything that's going on, because it impacts everything: the CDLs, the overstays, the student visas, the whole 9 yards. And I'll land the plane there. So thanks for the mic.
Sunlight, great post, man. And hey, I do follow Data Republican. They've been putting this out there. I'm not sure who's actually behind that, but yeah, they're putting it out there. So look, if you don't believe that this is a push to reinstitute the labor gap in this country and give our kids a new future, that's what I feel in my gut, that this what the Trump administration is doing. I can see it. Chad, I'm referencing him because, hey, the couple of minutes that we did talk, he knows exactly what I'm talking about as far as the SBA and what they're putting out and the narratives that they're listening to. It's important. So we'll see. We're making our own little dents here. That's all. Sunlight, you want to respond, and we'll go to Jeannie?
Yeah, real quick. It's a whole government approach, right? You see what Sean Duffy's doing. You see what the housing director is doing. Wiping out illegals from being able to take advantage of HUD. Kelly Loeffler over in the Small Business Administration, pulling back loans from businesses that can't prove, that they're legitimate and actually made up of citizens that should be receiving those benefits. So if we take away the benefit incentive, we take, from the federal government, and you take away the job incentive from the private sector, now how are these individuals going to live and remit money? Now, it would require a tighter cooperation between government and business, because if there is not an available soul with a heartbeat that is an American citizen that can step in and do the job, whether it's driving long haul trucks or hanging sheetrock or plumbing or whatever, and we need to have somebody come in on a temporary basis, then that requires work. And that's the problem, is that Washington is very, very, very lazy. They don't want to work, so it's easier just to maintain the status quo. And we got to push on them hard, get rid of that status quo, open up those job opportunities, which means supply and demand. Less supply, the demand is still there. That means higher wages, because the working class and the middle class, lower middle class, and upper middle class have been left behind by these damn politicians catering to Wall Street, and then the Democrats catering to, trying to get as many in as possible so they can get them signed up to vote and keep their artificial, majority, minority, whatever you want to call it. But I mean, there's probably about 25-30% of those Democrat seats that'll go away also, and be filled with hopefully moderate moderate Democrats or moderate Republicans, conservative Republicans. I don't care, as long as it's not freaking Rashida Tlaib's and AOC's and these knuckleheads like Hank Johnson that thinks that if you expand a military base on the island of Guam, that it's going to capsize. We can do better, man, and I'm sick and tired of it.
It's going to flip over, dude. Sunlight, it's funny. We'll see. There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes. I think of some of the things that you laid out, Kelly Loeffler, the Small Business Administration. These are real things, man. These are things that our community can touch. So it's good stuff. So hang out, Sun Life. Got a couple minutes. Go ahead, Jeannie in a bottle. How you doing? And then we'll go to you, May, and then take back.
Good morning, everyone. I was just reflecting as you were talking about the space and how it's progressed over the time. In the beginning people, the OGs. I look down through your group here, and there's still a lot of people that have been with you from the very beginning. I remember Trucker Tuesdays when we come up and talk about the trucking problems, and do want to thank you all for supporting that and pushing that out there when nobody else was talking about it. So, big props to the IC Texas Trucker down there listening. Congratulations on your weight loss, Trucker. It's a good job. I'm proud of you for that. But I just wanted to say again, thanks for the support, even when nobody else was talking about it. It is, we are seeing some things. My biggest problem is that the government is so slow to go to what Sunlight was saying, and the fact that by the time we react to some of these things, we're another 7 issues down the road by the time we're getting a response to the first thing we talked about. So, it's slow, but we are seeing the little dents, like you were saying, Marlon, and thanks to everybody who's listened and put up with us and bellyached with us in the beginning when nobody else would. So
Thanks, Jen. And you were a big part of that. So never forget that. Those little voices, maybe they got a little bit bigger as we went, Jeannie. So you know what? Hey, hats off to you for continuing it. Hey, I know everybody didn't agree with everybody that was involved and blah, 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 blah. But the end of the message was it was clean. That message was for real. There are actual changes going on. And yes, I think we as a community had some things to do with that.
it just goes to show how our voices, even when there was a dozen people in your space in the beginning, or whatever, now look how big it is, and how we're able to come together and push those messages out.
Well, thanks, Jeannie. Thanks for the warm words because hey, it's been a collective from everybody in the spaces and the communities. Hey, we're not in bed and kissing and hugging everybody, but we do have a mutual respect, and I see that's happening more and more here. So it's good stuff, Jeannie. So great to see you. Let's go to May. May, how you doing? Good to see you. And then we'll go to you. Take back.
Hi, Marlon. Foil. Love and wings. That's beautiful. I was going to tell you today, I am doing something I have not done in my entire life. I have to go to the jury pool because they sent me a letter saying that unless you're 70 years old, you cannot go exempt from going to the interview. So here I am doing my civic duty. But the thing is, I was going to tell you guys something really, really important that makes the hearing that they're going to have the arguments today is the fact that yesterday, I don't know if you guys all saw that on Fox News, they had that El Mencho that was killed, that was the cartel of Jalisco, the really dangerous one over there by Guadalajara. His son was American made, American born, and he's running now his father's cartel. That makes it even more serious. We have people that are killing and selling drugs and all this stuff in the name of what? American made, American born, for the birthright citizenship. That's going to be a very big deal, you guys. And I don't know if you guys have looked into OIG, which is the Inspector General Sauer. He's the one that's already been at the Supreme Court, has gotten very good results. I just want you're in good hands with Sauer, guys, okay? I don't know if it's because his last name is Sauer, sweet and sour maybe, but let me tell you, you're in good hands with him with this, and everybody is backing this. There's a ton of letters about it. I know that Ken Paxton has mentioned about birthright citizenship, and the reason being is I'm going to tell you what I saw during the Biden years when all of the mess with the immigration. I don't know if you guys saw that most of the women coming over were pregnant and had their babies here. They literally were about to pop, as my father would say, and they had their babies here. That would be unacceptable for those children to be considered American citizens, considering they were brought in not only illegally by our country, but the way they did it with the CBP app and all those things. Um, you know, another one is the Chinese born children. The Chinese born children that are being now. Did you hear the story about Marinara Islands? Mariana Islands is now offering tourist birth. And guess what? Our women in the United States are coming on and becoming what? Surrogate wives. I call it surrogate wives, surrogate baby makers, so that the women can still be in China and come to the birth. I'm not kidding you. This is what Peter Schweitzer was very adamant about. By the way, Peter, I think President Trump, I believe, is going to be there, and Peter Schweitzer is going to be there, and he has a huge book about it, the coup, the secret coup, or something like that. But it's about more than Chinese, you guys. 1 million children will be able to vote in 2030 that were born illegally. I call it through surrogacy or through what they call visa tourist birth. So that is going to be a huge deal. So I just want to tell you, you're in very good hands. There's a lot of things that are coming. What I cannot guarantee you is that all the children that have been born up till now will be sent back or brought in a different way. I can't guarantee you that. I don't know what they'll do with all that. But I think there's going to be some stipulations about possibly their status in the United States. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Here, really quick, Marlon.
Sure, go ahead, Joey.
So that same thing yesterday on Fox News, Sapphire. I don't know if you saw it. Also, Trump explained about the birthright citizenship and how it started. It started with the slaves during the Civil War, and it was meant for those slaves. But it's been so overrun and mismanaged for years that we have this problem. And now that one, when you were talking about the Chinese, Marlon, there's one billionaire that's got over 200 children here through birthright citizenship. Just one billionaire. That's just one of the 2 million or whatever that Sapphire was just saying on that number. So yeah, it was pretty intriguing. So if you guys have a chance, go back and look at that. See if you can find him talking yesterday when he was signing the executive order. And it's going to be good because, well, I know Sunlight was probably already talking about it. He's, going to the Supreme Court today, and he's going to listen in on this. And I think it's really a cool thing, and I can't wait to hear the outcome of this.
I think they're explaining, and again, listen, hey, the reason I have a leg up on a lot is because I've been introduced to the Spanish community my entire career, and I watched the struggles with these guys. Well, let's go to Take Back. Take Back, how you doing, man? Welcome up.
Hey, thanks for the mic, Marlon. And Russell, I just want to let you know I DM'd you. We have options for removing elected officials and appointed or hired officials if they're going outside of their limited scope of authority to act. We can revoke the corporate charter for corporations who are poisoning us in our food and doing things that are not beneficial for our health. So we can do all that stuff. So we already have that in place. So just, check your DMs.
I appreciate you, man.
Well, Russell, in the background, I've met Take Back a couple different times, several times here. So he's giving you the right info there. Zach, you want to add something?
Yeah, Donald Trump is there now at Supreme Court. I'd let you guys know.
I'm sure there'll be lots going on, lots to talk about. I can only imagine the way that it's going to be spun in all these different mainstream media platforms. It'll be interesting to see. Larissa, did you want to respond to something? I know you came back up.
Wanted to say happy birthday to Ted. But that's it. And when I remember Marlene when we were in the beginning, it's like, how are we gonna um help people along when they come into the space and the realization of what just occurred and it's happening now. I am really, I'm humbled. Uh, I'm very humbled because there's so many people here with knowledge and they know what they're doing. And we love our children and we pray for our president. And that's not such a bad thing. It's a really great thing. Like, love your children, pray for your president, protect your family. Like, these are just like basic, isn't it? And all of a sudden, there's all these arms that want to grab them. And it's like, no, just keep saying no. I'm going to keep saying no. Anyway, thanks.
Well, they're not taking me with them, Larissa. And you know what? You have been here since the beginning. We vowed when we started this, and it was a lot of people. It was a lot of people that were involved and were motivated, and a lot of those same people are still here motivated, Larissa. So you know what? Just our little part. We're blessed. We're marked. I can see the M on my palm right now. So make no mistake. Here we're in for the long haul here, Larissa.
Right.
Some of us took a vacation.
Well, you're allowed to have a vacation. Go ahead, Larissa, and then we'll go to Terry.
No, I just want to thank you for, your hosting, you listening to me. Now I'm going to start, digging into what I got to do here. For all the kids anyway. Thanks again.
Well, you know what, Larissa, you should think of it, and anybody that's in the audience, they should listen. They should think about this particular space and hey, these are the weapons. These are the people that really make the difference. They're the ones that we need to highlight. Average Americans doing above and extraordinary things. So if I can be a little part of that to help people, Larissa, you know it. You can't deny it. There's so many women that have texted me in the past, and thank God, listening to those spaces and the people that we turned them on to, and Apothecary and the homesteading and the prepping, and it was just all of it. So look at us years later, Larissa. Years later. Hey, let's go to go ahead, Terry. How you doing? Welcome up. Good to see you.
Good to see you too, Marlon. Yeah, and I just came back from visiting my grandchildren, and they're on a farm, and they're just making amazing strides, and they're so well rounded and listened to and polite, and they don't have a problem. They have more they're autonomous, and I'm doing that work with the juveniles that get into trouble for not going to school. And they can't understand it because I'm like, dude, I wouldn't want to go to school either. But this grassroots stuff, this stuff where you're talking about learning a trade or respecting people who work, truckers who work, all those things that make America function, and getting them involved in that, they're excited for that. And so I'm doing my part trying to teach them how to talk to adults and be heard, and to understand that their past does not equal their future, and the value of working hard and doing something that you're proud of. Not necessarily just for the monetary gain, but because it does more for you in the long run. So like, these spaces are always so wonderful because there's not a bunch of trolling going on. There's none. We're just best practices, best ideas, and a good place to pass that kind of stuff on. I appreciate you, Marlon. And thank you. Thank you for the mic. Happy birthday, Tinfoil.
Thank
Well,
you.
Terry, you're in the. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tim.
Thank you, Terry and Larissa, for the birthday wishes. I appreciate it. And Marlon, there's something I'd like to read that I think we get a good laugh off if we can take a quick break real quick.
Sure.
Okay, I posted in the pill. Let's see here. The National Archive just posted, I think their April Fool's joke, and it's funny. It says, breaking news, the National Archive has released the Founding Fathers group chat for a signing of the Declaration of Independence. Hashtag April Fool's Day. And it shows a phone that says, Thomas Jefferson. Okay, Patriots, final draft is ready. John H. Wait, do I sign my real signature or my cool one? Ben F. Make it big, John. Go viral or go home. John signs it. Thomas J. Bro, save some parchment for the rest of us. Samuel A. Who brought snacks? This is taking forever. Ben F says, try my new lightning lemonade. George Washington replies back, can someone proofread before I sign? Thomas Jefferson says, too late, I already tweeted it. Hashtag Independence Day. Then it says at the bottom, Sean H. added King George to the group chat at 5:45 p.m. King George feels very wide-eyed. And I thought that was funny.
April Fool's Day. A lot of discrepancy out there about what April Fool's Day is all about. We'll see. I think it's funny. I think as kids we really, we really took at and embraced the April Fools. I don't hear it much anymore. So anywho, go ahead, Sunlight, and why don't you jump in there and then we'll go to Dee Dee. Say hello to Dee Dee.
Yeah, Marlon, obviously we have a education gap. We need to make sure that we're teaching our kids, like the basics and civics and everything else and what makes America freaking exceptional. If it weren't for America, the last 100 years would have been hell on earth. We've rebuilt Europe with the Marshall Plan. We rebuilt Japan. We absolved Russia of all the debt, all the Lend-Lease stuff that we gave them, to Spain, the Eastern Front, World War II. The food we gave them, everything else. You're gonna hear from the little piece here because he's gonna be in person. But I found a post. I'll put it down in the purple pill there. But there's this guy called what is his name? I'll have to. He has like a little page saying there's no limit on God or something. No cap on God is this guy's name. I don't know if you've seen him. But he goes into these protests and he asks, the most ridiculous questions, and to see if the left is, actually up to speed on stuff, and they fail every time. So he's at the No Kings protest over the weekend, and he asked this woman, this young gal, is it a little bit homophobic to focus on the Straits of Hormuz rather than the gays of Hormuz?
Dude.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. Gays have been oppressed for so long and this and the other. I have no clue. Just clueless. So I thought I'd share that, Marlon, as something that is, just freaking hysterical and it amplifies what's wrong. And then lastly, Trump's energy level. I've never seen anything like this. This man has more energy than most 30-year-olds. Than my 26-year-old. I mean, he is just on point constantly, and he seizes the moment because he knows that birthright citizenship, if you unwind that, it unwinds all kinds of other questions about, DACA, about, benefits, about, remittances, and it puts the force of the rule of law back into place, to go freeze bank accounts, freeze remittances, all these types of things. So it's going to be the foundation, for the immigration push that's coming, and I'm here for it, man. But anyway, I thought you'd enjoy that, So the gays of Hormuz just know that they are being oppressed according to No Kings protesters because they don't know the Straits of Hormuz is an international shipping choke point. Pretty sad. Thank you.
I need that wide-eyed emoticon in the space because that's just wild.
Oh, it's the stupid things that make you laugh. Well, hey, let's say hello to Dee Dee. Dee Dee, what it is, man? Happy Wednesday. How you making out, brother?
What's going on, buddy? You doing all right?
I'm doing good, man. Good to see you.
Yeah. on the agricultural front a little bit, Marlon, they've come up now with the product of the USA to label homegrown American beef. That is a direct result of all the hell that was raised on social media, particularly X. You know how long I have been advocating for country of origin labeling. Now, if they go by the letter, word for word, like Brooke Rollins had explained it, then only beef raised, born, raised, slaughtered, and processed here in the U.S. is going to get a product of the USA label. But I'm wondering what kind of label will be put on imported beef. We haven't got an answer to that yet. I think that the product of the USA is a step in the right direction, but we're not totally there yet. So, I continue to say about Brooke Rollins, I'm cautiously optimistic. I think there was a fake report, probably started by one of the big four, of the sprue worm in Texas. And that report has not been confirmed, but that could be devastating. And the border is still not open yet. What I found interesting is they are exempting cattle from Mexico to get the product of the USA label, as long as those animals come across and were put in feedlots and fed out in the U.S. and then shipped to the processor, they could get a product of the USA label. Now, that I don't agree with. If it comes from Mexico, then it's coming up through Guatemala and Ecuador and, all of that, coming up the cattle cartel trails. That's not a product of the USA, period. But I think Brooke was taking a step in the right direction. RCAF USA has come out and thanked her, and several others. We're still going to push for mandatory country of origin labeling, because if there's a steak laying there, it's got product of the USA, and there's a steak laying next to it, and if it's from Brazil, then it did say product of Brazil or Australia or whatever. So we're still cooking. The ARA is still full bore. Right now, we got everything going on with attorneys, making sure that all the I's is dotted, the T's is crossed, and this, that, and the other, and it's taken some time. There was a whole lot of things going on that we did not know, and we're learning, and we're getting there. So it won't be long. Once we get the logistics ironed out, get the illegal language ironed out, we got to produce like 4 different contracts. You got to produce one for the cow calf. You got to produce one for a backgrounder. You got to produce one for a finisher. You got to produce one for the processor, and you got to produce a separate contract for the retailer. And believe me, the retailers are waiting in line, and they're patient. They really agree with what our concept is, so they're showing great patience and just waiting on us to get started. So just wanted to throw that out there and say good morning to everybody. And with that, buddy, I'm going to put my cows in the pen right there.
Well, Dee, man, great to see you. And the updates with the IRA and the total community that's behind that. Look, that's directly impacting us, I think it's a great notion. Food sovereignty, our beef industry is our last industry. It's our last stand. And when most Americans realize that it's that fragile, maybe they'll jump on, Dee Dee. So we got a lot of work to do, but it's good signs ahead.
Oh yeah, it's going to take some time, but trust me, when the ARA starts putting beef on the commercial shelf, that's when you're going to see an uproar. And I love a good uproar, Marlon. You know me. So anyway, that's it. Thanks, buddy.
That's why we're all going to be standing here, because you're going to need it. Because those roaches are going to come out of the woodwork, and she's going to have enemies, and you guys are going to have enemies you didn't even know you had. So we need to stick together. So good stuff, Dee Dee, man. Hang out. You got a couple of minutes. Go ahead, Julian. We'll go to Sun.
Yes, my question is for Dee Dee, you rancher warrior, you. I love it. I love it. I love it to hear that because right now, what you were just talking about, when I'm in the food store and I am looking at meats, if I have to buy something from the food store, mostly it's just chopped meat. My husband doesn't, unfortunately, eat steaks or anything, so I'm not privy to that. But even chickens, it's, if it says that it's made in the USA, you have to really look at the fine print because it might be processed here, but the meat is coming from elsewhere, and it will state it, but in very small print. So people are thinking, oh, this is made right here in the USA. No, it's not. They're not cattle from the US. It's just processed here. So I'm so happy to hear this, and I can't wait to see that ARA label on our meats in the stores. That's going to be just heaven sent. So that's going to help out, be really good for a lot of people, whether they know it or not.
Yeah, when you go into a restaurant, could you imagine seeing on the menu an ARA beef? I think people are starting to demand it. It's good stuff, man. It's our food sovereignty, everything that we've been talking about for years, and now it's coming to a head. And real quick before we go to you, Sunlight, there was a lot of pushback, Dee Dee, that you guys need to get congressional approval, and hey, have you gotten any politicians on your side? Did you ask them? What we got to ask for permission? No, we're not asking for permission anymore.
Nope, that ain't happening. And I told Casey, I want to keep politicians as about as far away from the ARA as I can. And, that's, because when you start getting a Washington politician involved, that's where things go to hell in a handbasket. So we'll do this on our own.
Last thing we need to do is ask for permission. Sunlight, okay, man, jump in there.
Yeah, Marlon, I put down in the purple pill, Ross Perot's response at the 92 town hall debate with George Herbert Walker Bush and Bill Clinton regarding NAFTA. Growing up in a border town, we saw the spring up of all the maquiladoras, the plants where, the requirement was X percent, had to be finished in the United States versus in Mexico, right? But they took advantage, that was the way that they skirted, or tried to thread the needle on impacting labor in the United States. So, you did the vast majority of the manufacturing in Juarez or Matamoros or wherever, and then it came across the border for finishing on the Texas side. And then the truckers that pushed stuff across could only go inland like 12 miles. And we know that that's all falling apart, right? And all those types of things. And it prompted Ross Perot actually to build and sponsor Alliance Airport outside of Fort Worth, Texas, to fly in, these more complex type things that needed to be finished, to meet the NAFTA requirements. So my question to Dee Dee is, I will wager that it's probably related to those guidelines. And so at some point, as part of Trump's revamp of the United States, Canada, Mexico agreement, I believe that's going to be renegotiated this year. That's probably where that language needs to be, very, very specific as it comes to food processing. And Marlon, everybody, you know, you realize this, you know, if you have a single source for your sheetrock in your business, you're setting yourself up. You put all those eggs in that one basket. What happens if that supplier goes belly up or, you know, there's an impact on the market? You always have to have multiple lanes, you know, in order to maintain resiliency in your supply chain and in your business. And the same thing with systems, tinfoil, you know that if you don't have redundant backups and everything else and you lose your critical data stream, you know, you're sunk, you know. So this is something that I've always, you know, just bristled at, is the fact that we were outsourcing, you know, our food supply outside of the United States, because, you know, food is critical. It's a critical component to sustaining citizenship, you know, to sustaining your population, like energy, housing, and all that. So I'm glad to see this comes full circle. But, you know, Dee Dee, what do you think? Is it, you know, because of NAFTA guidelines that they're able to kind of scrap that labeling?
Well, the last time we had cool, it was repealed under the Obama administration when Canada and Mexico filed a complaint with the World Trade Organization and said it was discriminatory. And of course, you got the big four that fought against it. It said it would put undue pressure on them, which is a load of horse hockey. And so Trump's pretty much taking advice of telling the World Trade Organization to, you know, go take a flying leap. I'm being poetic here. And, you know, so we really don't care what other countries think. You know, Americans are just sick and tired of being told, you know, shut up, need it, don't worry about where it comes from. You know, when you got entities out there, actual cattle entities out there that's supposed to be representing the small cattlemen, that says, you know, people don't care where it comes from. Well, that was 15 years ago. Well, I'm sorry, but it's changed. You know, people are a lot more aware of their food, what's in it, how it's treated, what goes to it. You know, the health reason, thanks to RFK and what they're doing. But, you know, times have changed. And so getting cool, I think, is going to be monumental. And they're still going to work on trying to get cool. But this was a step in the right direction, because essentially the Product USA label is exactly cool, which means born and raised, you know, right here in the US. I mean, I'm sure everybody's seen it. So, and as far as the trade agreements go, I don't know what Canada and Mexico will do. I know Mexico's still upset that the border's closed, but you know what? I mean, I'm sorry, I really don't care. It wouldn't wrinkle my feathers a damn bit if the, you know, southern border stayed closed. Canada is kind of a different story. They're the only ones right now that is exporting live cattle to the U.S. So now, then there's still rigorous, you know, vet checks and stuff like that they have to go through. We'll just have to, you know, kind of kick back and see. But there's a concerted effort right now to try to start rebuilding the herd. We're the lowest since the 1950s. And, you know, cattle prices at sales is still kind of high. And, but, you know, those the inputs. I mean, I just put out 4 tons of fertilizer. It cost me $3,000 to put out 4 tons of fertilizer on my pastures for grazing. And I still got 1 pasture left. I still got to go buy the fertilizer for. So, you know, the inputs have gone up. Everybody knows what the fuel prices are now. I mean, you know, diesel's up $4 a gallon. And, you know, the fertilizer prices have jumped, and that's just part of doing business. People, the first thing they want to do is jump up and down, throw a fit, blame Trump because what he's doing in Iran. You know what? I pay $5 for diesel all day long to keep Iran from getting a nuke. It's just quit bitching, quit whining. You know, paying $5 a gallon for diesel is a lot better than having a nuke parked under the Statue of Liberty there in New York City. So, you know, I don't know what people want. They just want to whine and cry and fuss about something. So, you know, get it all
You know what,
the system.
you know, I think the cattle industry is cornered, honestly, just like the drywall industry, right? You have four major packers that you have to go through. So let's take the analogy of drywall. Do you know that every drywall manufacturer all goes up at the time? Are you telling me that there's not collusion behind the scenes here? All those big four major manufacturers of sheetrock are colluding and really ripping American people off.
Yeah, you know, you can make an antitrust case right there. But I mean, look at diesel. I mean, there's no reason. I mean, yeah, there's a price gouging going on, and of course, you know, I know there's a lot of stuff going on with the Strait of Hormuz. Whether it's gay Hormuz or straight Hormuz, I don't know. I'll pass on that one. But you know, he has released some, fuel from the strategic reserves. And what people don't realize is diesel fuel is a crap fuel. You know, it's secondary to gasoline. But because the world, a majority of Europe, the vehicles over there run on diesel, it's one reason it has gone up so high. So, it's come back down. So I'm not worried about it. I'm not sitting here fussing about it. I mean, it's going to cost a little more, but that's the price you pay to keep an absolute maniac regime from getting a nuclear weapon. And, I don't know about y'all, but I've been sick and tired for years. I remember very well under Jimmy Carter. I remember that boondoggle that happened there. And finally, we got a president that's got the stones to sit right there and say, enough's enough. You fix to take your licks like a man. And, I'm not going to change the subject a whole lot there, but some of our allies, overseas, I would have a real strong talking to. Pretty much I would throw the gauntlet down with a couple of countries there that's, being kind of irate, and to let them know who the U.S. is. But that's a topic for another day, Marlon. I'm going to put my cows in the pen right there.
Yeah, I think really the conversation is the collusion that corporate has done behind the scenes to all of us. Okay, take back.
So thanks, Marlon, for the mic. And as a business owner, entrepreneur, you want to control all of your resources. Everything that you need to complete that mission of providing to a happy customer. So I can understand where Sunlight's coming from, Dee Dee, and you yourself. So it's very important. And so Dee Dee, check your DMs because I have a solution. All right.
Oh, Marlon, I hate to interrupt, but I'm gonna have to drop here in just a minute. I just want to say good morning to everyone and what a great conversation it's been. Hey, Dee, I hadn't seen you in forever.
Hey, baby girl.
Miss you. Hope you're doing well.
Well, good to see you. I'm glad that you jumped in there, Heather. Actually, I was going to go to you next, but thank you for jumping in.
I hate jumping in. I don't want to interrupt anyone, but I gotta get my husband fed up and sent off to work. But I'm a good sandwich maker, y'all.
It's good to hear from you, baby. Yeah, I'm doing good, and I mean, if I was doing any better, I couldn't stand myself. I'm as happy as a dead pig in sunshine. So I'm hanging in there.
Get
Then
that,
that's a good day.
get that list ready, Dee Dee. We're almost ready.
Yeah, I got a few zingers I can throw you there, Marlon. Don't worry about it, buddy.
Thanks for coming up, Heather.
Dee Dee's teaching me new words here.
And hey, I need to apologize to Love My Wings and Tin Foil, but yeah, I gotta step away for 5 minutes. I'll be right back.
It's all
We
good.
leave you with no hands, but you guys will you'll do.
So, yeah, Dee Dee's teaching me some new words here. Boondoggle, that's a new one. I like that. I'll have to use that one.
So Marlon can't be in sheet rocking with the phone up to his ear at the same time. That's what we're here. It's amazing. You know, I just wonder again, you know, if there's some stipulation that the cow is 40% in Mexico but finished in the United States, is that one of the trade agreements, you know, that needs to be clarified and wiped out?
Well, I
I'll
mean,
take a look
what
at it.
according to Brooke Rollins, what she said was, if they come across the border, probably what we call years, okay? Um, That's about anywhere from 600 pounds, basically calves. Um, if put in a feedlot in the U.S.
Did we just lose Dee Dee?
Oh yeah, it seems that way.
Internet's been weird today. Dee Dee, still there?
Tinfoil, I think you lost Love My Wings.
Yeah, I just saw that too.
Okay. It's tinfoil, you got it. You've got it. Birthday.
Oh, interesting. So is there any hands? X does not allow me to see hands at the moment.
Nope.
No hands up. No hands up. So, so I'm like, what do you think is going to be the outcome of this hearing at this court with the citizen-born children? You know, what do you think is going to be the outcome?
Well, you know, so like Supreme Court decisions, you know, they're going to hear the arguments and then they're going to sit on it. And you need for clarity to, you know, it was very obvious at the time. You know, handle this stuff into the United States owned or portage. You know, the most common, you know, the railroad. But Chinese have lived here generation. Or it's you know, there's all kinds of in the whole actuality. But then as we enter War II, and FDR, a red hot poker then to for that, because it was a different time, a different era. You know, very good. You're right. Not
people from all the country. And you
Yeah, have a lot, there's a lot of other things, that take into consideration with cutting. It's not an institution well, but it's been floundering for decades in the Plains line, and there's been numerous cases that and, they have to call that into consideration with Roe v. Wade, and they ruled on that and ruled the right way. But I suspect the process doesn't go before him, and then they put the judge into the day. Else.
they should have never ruled for Roe v. In the first place because of the Constitution. If they were following the uh, and to Roe v. Wade and case. We keep our uh, servants in line for the over the Constitution rights of us. And number one, how to hold them reading our uh, constitutions, the words in the Constitution, grievances, redress of grievances. The word redress means receiving for asking for it. Oh, well, it's got you produce evidence of
It's your case. The Supreme Court. Those people in California should be screaming at it and bringing up you have the precedent
Hey, Julian,
how's everybody doing? Happy.
Hey.
Late life and said that it was eight right before election. That was a complete fraud and a sham. Was any of our like they can't all of these laws all of them need to be looked at. Every one of them. And so, it's like there's no justice right, at all. That's why it was called court. So now today's day. I think citizenship or implementing meant. I believe it's the 14th of starting busy at work was unlike a lot of people I right now. And I really am excited to hear what Donald Trump has to say. Is this clown, clown, I guess Stoner, okay, the Australian leader, we're all speaking to the nation, energy crisis, they're going to lockdown because just want to just refresh that and reset the conversation because it's pretty obvious what all of these bad actors are doing. It's really bad. But enjoy the show because a lot of these LARPers, literally they're live action role players on these spaces that tweet. They don't go into spaces and talk. That's my biggest tip for you. If they tweet a lot but they don't go into a space and interact, you know what their agenda is. Anyway, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. It's been a great space so far. Happy birthday, Tinfoil. Thanks again, Marlon.
good to see you, Vegas.
Thank you, Vegas.
Well, hey, and thanks for coming up because, I think, like you said, I think there's a lot of things that are going to be said there in the Supreme Court. The Roe v. Wade. I mean, we're watching Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries fight to the end with this. I mean, why was there a leak out of the Supreme Court a year ago or a year and a half ago, no, that was a long time before that. I'm sorry. That was in 22. So, they used that narrative, leaked it out to really sabotage the Republicans go in 22. This was the red wave and, they used that and they let that out of the Supreme Court on purpose. At the end of the day, who's going to pay for that, right? Who's the one that's really responsible? I think some of these answers are going to be, we're going to get them, Vegas. Okay, Julie.
Yeah, I just really wanted to say quick because I have to get going, but Vegas, since you're up here, I was really proud of myself today, and you'd be proud of me too, I think. Because of your spaces, I learned all about the XRP, which I've been heavily invested into. But today, for the first time, I never traded, like did stock, because I just don't understand it. So I'm not going to do something I don't understand. But my girlfriend Mary's really been doing, helping me out a lot. And with our 401s at work, we can trade on the stock market with that money. So I did take some of my money out of there, and I put it all into the money that I took out. I put it into physical silver. So I was really proud of myself, and we will watch and see how it goes.
That's awesome. By the way, that's what spaces are for. We all learn from each other. There's things that we don't know, because I learned that stuff from Stellar. And once I saw the ruling in July 13th, 2023, about where that was going, I had to jump on board. So I'm just so happy to hear that you got something from that. And if you can move it into precious metals, and I'm no financial advisor, I just like to spend money. But if you move it to precious metals, you're going to be a lot safer than the market the way it is right now. So nice job. I love to hear that, Julie.
Thank you. Absolutely. My girlfriend Mary she's a Q person. She got me into Trump. She really woke me up. She doesn't come on to X, but she's my ride or die chick when we go to all the rallies. And she helped me with this. And I'm just really, and she's, don't touch it, just leave it. You're going to see ups and downs, but once it hits that 120 mark, she goes, I think it's going to be over. So I'm excited.
Stella would be excited to hear you did that. I can tell you that. She's been telling me that for 3-4 years now.
Oh, I didn't mean to give you the thumbs down. I meant to
I
give
got
you
you.
100%.
I know where you're coming from, fam. By the way, just want to say it's my 2-year anniversary living in Vegas. I don't know if the joke's on me. Just wanted to say that.
Vegas, I've only been to Vegas one time. It'll be a long time before I go back there. And I won't be visiting the casinos. I'll be visiting everything outside of Vegas. I do want to see the Hoover Dam. There's a couple of things there that I do want to see, and not the casinos. The Vegas is just a glorified Atlantic City, and I grew up in Atlantic City, so it doesn't dazzle me. So I'd like to go back to Vegas though at some point.
Yeah, locals don't go on the strip at all. A lot of places you can go. You can go off strip. There's fun stuff to do. I don't ever go to the strip. There's nothing but chaos and idiots down there, so I just avoid it.
There's one off the strip. Me and my son went to it. There's a restaurant there, and then they got the pit inside. I forget what restaurant. It's a small little casino. We probably had the most fun in that casino compared to all the others.
Amen. I've only been to the strip a couple times, and I'm not a fan.
Yeah, I think I did myself injustice. I taught my son how to play craps. I was probably not the best parenting position there. Anyway, go ahead, Fed Up, and then we'll go to Sunlight.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to Vegas for calling out Miss Barbie. I have a space I used to go into almost every day, and I won't anymore because she co-hosts in there. But my last trip in there was telling her exactly what I thought about that big long article that she put out, the one that Cruz and all them reposted, that's really fueling a lot of the anti-Catholic hate on this app.
And you can tell it was written by AI. Not to interrupt you, but I read that and I can't stand her. AI wrote that. Give me this version of this, and it'll write this long form bullcrap, because she's way too stupid to write something smart.
Well, it was just the thing too. It's like when you had multiple of us come in, and multiple people before me came in and was like, no, this is hate. And everybody was like, well, they're not talking about your average Catholic and your average this. I'm like, yes, it is. It absolutely was talking about Catholics, and I'm Eastern Orthodox, and it talked about a general anti-Semitic bend of people from the East. And I'm like, yeah, it did. You literally called my religion anti-Semitic. And the bad thing is I've run into multiple people that have now went with that same trope. I've seen that same thing being spread around because of that. So I just wanted to say thank you. You feel like you're on an island calling these people out sometimes. So, and well, when you have somebody too that's blown up to over 1 million followers, so I was glad Alpha put out that post talking about anybody over a certain number of followers. You really need to dig in why they got those followers and how quick they blew up. Because we know some people that, I mean, everybody knows, run spaces, have podcasts, all this, that have 70,000 followers. And then other people have 1 million? Give me a break.
You know what? Let me tell you, Fed Up, and I'm going to use Sunlight. It aggravates me. I've been on here for 4 years. Everything that I've done is organic. I've never paid for promotions or anything like that. And look at the followers that I have. I have 14,000. Now, I'm not the sexiest guy up here, and I don't have a made up picture and showing my boobs or anything. But you know what? I should just show you that the organic style comparative to the people that have 300,000 followers and really it only happened in the last 8 or 9 months. I mean, like, it doesn't make any sense. The numbers don't work out. I mean, I guess they're popular, more popular than I am, and that's fine. I'm not complaining. I think that the people that have followed me over these years, putting out the same consistent message, same positivity. I've never changed. You can see these people change. They change right in front of you.
Facts.
So look, that must have been.
I can't. I've been on the replica, and I'm 6'4", and I've been on the replica, that sits in Plymouth Harbor in Plymouth, Massachusetts. And let me tell you, man, no way. No way. I would have, I'm probably in the middle of the night, I probably would have thrown about 30 people overboard, to make room, make room on it. I don't know how they managed that, but at the end of the day, if you look at our roots were born out of protest and conflict. Other than the Jamestown colony was financed. I mean, that was pretty much a business proposition. The Puritans were escaping, the Catholics were escaping, the Jews were escaping. But the Jamestown colony was pretty much, that's where the Loyalists were during the Revolutionary War for the most part. We're in those the southern colonies. Kind of set up the future Civil War, in fact. But Marlon, are you negotiating from a point of weakness or a point of strength? You go in with your price, understanding the market. You know how much wiggle room you have and how much negotiating you have. And if you arrive at a win-win situation, that's great. We just need to figure out how to arrive at win-win situations and compromise that are to the majority of those decisions benefit the 80% that sits in between those two extremes. And don't let this platform fool you. There aren't that many a-holes out there. They just happen to, get amplified on this because it's been that way since the dawn of time, right? Dirty laundry. Dirt sells. National Enquirer sells at the point of sale register, and that's what they're pushing. If there's no controversy, it's not interesting, right?
Bad news sells. Good news doesn't sell, brother. Well, let's go to Love My Wings. Hey, Love My Wings. Maybe then we'll go to Miles and Fed Up, and then hey, we're gonna think about wrapping it down. Get a couple last thoughts here. So, go ahead, my Love My Wings.
Thank you, my friend. I just want to go back to what we were talking about, how people get their accounts and they're huge and stuff. I have been here. I remember cheering you on, Marlon, poolside with American and Haas when you were talking about starting talking about the windmills in New Jersey and stuff like that. The thing that's amazing about you and Carol and American and ICE, you guys have always been heart driven. You've never been ego driven. None favorite because they've always remained heart driven, not ego driven. And I think that's the difference, my friend.
I like that a lot. Could you imagine what Iceman would say today? He's been going just a little over a year. They had a space about him, and and again, he taught me so much, and vice versa, right? I was able to show him things that he never heard of before, and it was a great combo. When I visited him in the hospital, when he first had his first amputation, that was the first time I ever met him. And, when I talked to him, he felt, and he said the same thing to me. He says, dude, I feel like I've known you my entire life. And how is that possible, Wings? How is that possible?
Because the two of you had servants' hearts.
At that particular time when I went to visit him, we were upset at each other, and now when you go back and you look at these people that have been on this platform and the people that are gone, I mean, there's a list, right? Josie, TB, Iceman,
Osceola.
I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Maybe Wings, maybe what we should be is more blessed that we were able to meet them. So just that experience with those people, hey, changed the way that I conducted myself here. You know, I know Iceman, he broke my stones about cursing, and he would, put it in the tip jar, Marlon, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, we would always come to the same realization that we were here in New Jersey, we were fighting the same fight. And at that time, when we were upset, you know what, it was frivolous at the end of the day. It was a waste of time. We should have never wasted that time we had together being mad at each other. So think about that on some of the apps. I mean, you know, it's unfortunate. This particular app, a lot of people are sensitive. You know, you don't heart them, or you don't retweet them or whatever, they get upset. And it's hard because it's almost like a maintaining thing, right? But you know, look, we're there to support the people that have been there the entire time, not changing messaging, and a lot of other people are calling them out. You know what, Wings, Tinfoil, Sunlight, Fed Up, Miles, we're not the judge and jury. The community is, and they've spoken that many times. So it's up to the judge and jury, is the community here, what they're going to accept and what they're not going to accept. It takes a little while when some of the narratives are overwhelming or sparkling. Like, you know, you get somebody that flops on the scene and, oh my God, this guy's great, and his account goes crazy, and bit earlier in the space, but you know, unfortunately, Miles, I'm kind of at the end of it, but it's definitely subjects for here to going forward here. That those are discussions that, you know, we got to see the evolution of these bills and the laws, and who was to benefit from them, and man, there's a lot to unpack there, brother.
Well, there really is, and to listen to the oral arguments, like they are talking about some of the history, but it doesn't pertain to us right now. You know, as far as, you know, what the founding fathers were worried about. And then as we expanded as a nation, bringing slave labor over from other countries, and then them having babies, and then the indigenous people, it's kind of a complicated subject, but I mean, you have to have some rules, and they have just destroyed all the guidelines and rules for people, you know, especially. They infiltrated and they wanted to be, you know, part of the government. So it's happening again. You know, it's deja vu, right? So I just wanted to point that out. You might want to go listen to some of it and do some history as far as what the hell are they talking about and some of the precedents in the past. That's all I wanted to say, guys. I'm probably going to have to water again because it's, you know, I'll do it later in the afternoon. But the crop's looking pretty good. Thanks, guys.
Hey, you got to talk to them. You got to have some love when you're gardening. You don't just plant the shit in the ground and it grows. You got to talk to it, right? They say plants respond. I mean, I don't know how much that's true, but I'm kind of like a reactionary guy. I don't wait around too long. But
look, I don't know what to say to a cucumber.
Play music. Play music. My plants, flowers, veggies, and stuff, they all
craze. Put that up there.
I've read a report somewhere that they've documented that plants actually sing, and when you cut the grass, they can actually. This is gonna sound bad because ever since I've read it, it's been when I was able to cut grass. It's been hard for me to cut grass, but when you cut grass, if you don't technically pray before you cut grass, they'll scream. But if you pray for the grass, they won't scream. It was a weird report. I was like, okay, that's gonna make me really rethink things.
You know what, tinfoil? When I cut flowers for my mother-in-law or a neighbor or something, I always say thank you for allowing me to share their beauty with others.
You know what, Wings? It is a spiritual thing. I do like the time with my wife when we go out and tend the garden. I mean, pruning off the leaves that are suckers and, really going through it and really learning. And a lot of you guys have taught me so much about gardening. I thought I knew some shit until I talked to you people, It's, and this is the first year I'm going to try no tilling. So my biome is there, right, that I've kind of nursed along the way, and I'm excited to see the results this year out of the no-till gardening. We're going to put them, I've always heard in the past how you're supposed to rotate your crops and all that stuff, and they tell me no, that's just not true. So I'm interested to put the tomato plants back where I had good tomato plants last year. And we talked to them, love my wings, my rosemary. It's almost like it become, I don't know. Yeah, like you said, thanking it. It's pretty great. Fed up. Go ahead, man. Last thought, bro.
Yeah, well, one back on the, we were talking about somebody's bringing up all the different Christian denominations that started out here early on and how they got along. And, that's why they're doing this crap. They have to divide us because, they know we're the majority. Like the Christians in general are still the majority of this country. And if we got together and was vocal, even if we were a tenth as vocal as some of the other religions, we would take over. You wouldn't see any of this, anti-Christian crap going on. You wouldn't see a lot of this trans nonsense. A lot of this other stuff would not be going on in this country if we were even partially as vocal as some of these other people. And they were starting to see that some of us were starting to get vocal. Well, what's the best way to end that? Have us being vocal against each other. And that's what's going on, that is being fueled. And, it keeps us arguing with each other instead of doing what we needed to do, like we did in the beginning, is work together to save this country and fight the evils in this country, which there are several of, right? And, so I think we'll figure it out because there's more and more people speaking out against the extremes. And speaking out, as my buddy Miss G says, the painting with a broad brush. Call out the individual scumbags on all sides, and realize the people in the middle are typically just good, decent people wanting to get by with their lives and everything. And and other than that, that's the big thing we've got to do on here. And I'll end with this. It's like, well, Marlon, you said something true, what you said earlier. You can't be the sexiest man in the room because I'm here. So, so at least you're honest.
Right on, Fed Up. Hey, thanks for coming up. Hey, let's get a couple of quick hellos. Let's go to, we'll go to Goats first, and then we'll let you wrap it up, Gene.
Hey guys, real fast. I heard you talking about the music and plants. I'm going to put in on that. My dad, he was a pretty prolific marijuana grower most of his life, and when Washington went legal back in the day, he was actually one of the first independent people growing for them, and he swore by music. When he passed away, and me and my brothers found all his notes and stuff, he had pages and pages and pages of notes that he took on growing weed. And he had the music that he would play for them at different times in the growing process, the different music that he would play. And he always had playlists going for his weed, and he swore by it. So I just want to throw that in there. Thanks, Marlon. Thanks, Love My Tinfoil. Good to see you. Everybody, great to see you.
Have a good day,
Down there
Goats.
dancing. I'm sorry, Love My Wings. Yeah.
I just wanted to tell them thank you and have a great day.
I could see the plants down there dancing. I swear to God, when my strawberries come out, they're smiling at me. When I come out, they're waving at me. I don't know. Jeannie, how you doing? Good to see you. Glad you had a second to pop up.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, I'm on my lunch break. I've been trying to listen as much as I can. And I guess I'm to the point where I'm kind of done with any silliness. The the debates on spaces. It's like, yeah, if you the ignorance at this point is so blatant that if you are on a mission for, let's say, Epstein, right? We need to see the names. At this point, if you're still arguing about anything, then you clearly don't have an understanding of where we're at. And I just don't have any tolerance of it anymore. Nor do I have the tolerance for spaces that are just not trying to help each other. They're just trying to entertain each other. Does that make sense? So, yeah, I'm struggling to try and
I got enough. Hey, Jeannie, I got enough entertainment in my life. All I got to do is look around and look at clowns to the left of me and jokers to the right.
yeah, it is unbelievable. And in fact, I saw another post this morning with a gentleman who's going to explain to us how some people saw what was happening with COVID early on. And I'm like, well, that's kind of a no-brainer. It's called being discerning. it's called, thinking it. Why are you writing about this? I'm so tired. So anyway, I do want to speak with you personally, if you can give me a call at some point. And I just wanted to say hi to everybody.
Amen, Jeannie. Good to see you. Thanks for coming up. Yep, we'll take care of that. No problem. So, quick last thought, maybe out of Love My Wings. Love My Wings. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Truth, you popped up. Truth, do you want to say hello quick, out quick, or something there? And then we'll go to Love My Wings.
Yeah, forgive me. I just was dealing with a major server issue, but just came back. I didn't know you're all still going to be here, but I'm glad you are. Hope it was a great space. Sorry I didn't get to listen to the whole thing. Just had to deal with issues, but it's all good. It's all working. I'm assuming you're coming to the end of this there, Marlon. Is that what you're doing?
Yes, sir.
Well, just a friendly reminder, what all the stuff that y'all talked about. I don't know what it was, but I'm sure it was good. But put everything in perspective, don't sweat the small stuff. Remember, everything is small stuff. And at the end of it all, God wins. So put God first in your life. There you go.
Thanks, man. Trials and tribulations, right? Hey, we go through it. We listen to it. We see it. Hey, I think some of the talk that you hear is some of the disenchanting of what this app has provided. It used to be a social thing, and not that it's not a social thing. It is. There's a lot of great people that are coming up here and be able to disseminate through the trash. That's the hard you know what we're about. That's the end of the story. You met me eye to eye, dude, and I haven't wavered one bit. So, brother, even to have you here and, seeing it, some like breaking my balls. He's like, oh, we got all these things going. I appreciate it. I really do. I don't take flattery well, though, to be honest.
And the thing, Marlon, I don't really care what people, as long as you're authentic. Be authentic. Be you. Be whoever you are. Be you. And if that's it, then I'm good with that. Just be you.
I'm gonna love you who you are, not who you claim to be, not who you pretend to be. Nope. Let's go to Love My Wings. I really appreciate you coming up and giving me a hand today. And it was a little special tinfoil birthday today. So Love My Wings. Thanks.
Oh, wait a minute. What? Happy birthday, tinfoil. Sorry, Love My. Happy birthday. I didn't know.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's always a special day when we can celebrate the birthday of one of our friends, especially as amazing as tinfoil. This young man has taught me more than I care to even admit. I guess basically I'm headed out to the backyard before the rain so I can finish clearing up the dog doo in my yard. But I just wanted to give everybody a friendly reminder that when your burden gets too heavy, please just remember you can let go and let God. And that's it. Have a great week, everyone. Thank you, Marlon, for letting me be your co-host. I hope I didn't screw up too bad, and have a good day, guys.
See, that's the best part about it. You can't screw this up. That's the best part. Most people, Love My Wings, you made a great point. Is there a fear of failing? Like if you think you stepped out and I don't know exactly what I'm talking about, or you made a mistake, those were the biggest learning curves there. I mean, I learn more from mistakes than any kind of success. So you can't screw this up. Love My Wings. Okay.
Hey, Marlon.
Yeah.
Well, one thing on that, just to throw it in there. Yes, there's a lot of people have a fear of failure, but I think what people don't talk about a lot is more so the fear of success. Because a lot of people innately feel like they don't deserve it. So I'd say to keep that in perspective. You know what I mean? We don't want to fail, but that's how we learn. But I think a lot of people really don't feel inside that they deserve success, and got to change that. Turn that frown upside down. Change that way of thinking.
And here comes Truth sliding in with the truth bombs. Thank you, friend.
I also want to say thank you to Truth as well for putting up with me today. I was helping them with that issue in the background, and yeah, he got to see the other side of me today.
That's good. Hey, that's how you learn who real people are. It's look, when I met Goat eye to eye, I knew exactly who the guy was before I met him. So it's good to have these connections to kind of validate a little bit. Not that I'm putting it out there, but if we need to be led, we should all lead. It's not just one person here, right? There's a lot of people that even this space, man, it's because of you guys coming in here. That's what it's about. Having, Mr. Smalls come up, and there's a zillion people, Stellar and Rick and Credit, and there's just so many people that come in here and contribute. And man, it wouldn't be half as impactful. But if we can direct it to some of those energies to, kind of learn some other ways. And what I mean by that is, and I'm going to leave you with this because I know this to be a fact. You guys talked about Miss G saying something about painting with people with a broad brush. Got to be very careful with that because it's unfortunate. People get wrapped up in the communities and, they didn't take a second to actually learn what the guy was all about. Knowing this big broad brush, we're looking at those bills that are on a congressional and Senate process here. And, the problem is it's not the United States. we should be leaning on those 10% or 15% of those Democrats that need to step across the line, and Republicans in the same way. So they need to support common sense policy coming forward here, and it's our job. We need to attack that 10 or 15% to get those, not to cross over. I don't even want to use that. They just have to understand, hey, what's right for America? Probably a lot of those Democrats that are there in seats are manipulated behind the scenes, blackmailed. You know, it's the same scenario on the other side. There's a lot of percentage of those people that are good-hearted blue, red, and white Americans. So we need to filter them out, right? And as soon as we learn to do that, especially in the congressional end, you know, what can't you accomplish as communities? You know, I see Nicki Minaj's group coming in here. We need to wield this power. We need to direct them to give them an idea on how we fight back. And it doesn't just start with voting. We can lean on those same congressional members, whether they're Republican or Democrat, and they have to be open-minded. You know, unfortunately, you have to come to them with something that's not a political suicide. When you put those people in there, you got to attack the CPS. You know, you got to make a stand. I believe that in some cases, these people need to make the stand. And it's our job as Americans to lean on them to get them to do it. So we got to learn different tools, and because what we've been doing isn't the right course. So let's start thinking outside the box, and that's what, you know, really I've always dreamed of a community being like that. Can you imagine the tentacles if we really put our foot down? How we can explore everybody that follows us, and I don't know, maybe one day that would be a great day. So, Tin, happy birthday! Thanks for coming up, and give you last word.
I appreciate it, and thanks for letting me co-host. It was fun today, and like I said earlier, guys, just don't fall into the division. That's what they want, and I think the best way to to get back at them as per se is, as the computer in the war games once said, the only way to win is not to play the game, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm focusing on my local area to see what I can do to help. And, you know, I'm watching the elections here closely to see who I need to vote for. I'm still going to vote. I might have to do mine through absentee due to the fact that my mobility, but, you know, I'm still going to vote to make sure and get that in there. And just, guys, enjoy the weekend. And if you're in the plains or the Ohio Valley, keep an eye on the weather today. It may get a little rough, and there might be some severe weather on the East Coast a little bit too. So guys, just keep an eye on the sky and just have fun today.
Thanks, brother. Thanks for coming up. Yeah, man. Happy birthday, man. I don't look forward to my birthday. Anyway, have a great rest of the day. Thanks everybody for contributing today. Maybe we'll see you tomorrow, 9-ish. I hope. I've been doing, I've been doing